Alright, I'm going to highlight some of the miscellaneous items that you want to bring in your backpacking kit. These are all small items that could fit inside this pouch. This netted pouch could also be used as a pre-filter for the water while you're collecting it. So, just try to make use of things for more than one purpose. I'm going to start with a hand towel. You should always bring a small towel with you to wipe your hands off, wipe your face off. It's actually really important, and I learned the hard way when I didn't bring a towel. I'm like wiping my hands off on my shirt all the time. So bring a towel, coffee. Remember to bring hot beverages. It really helps. Bring a picture of your loved one. In reality, you don't know when the next time you're going to see them is, but you hope it's soon. This is a lighter, a Bic Mini lighter. You could use the Bic Mini lighter for pretty much your entire life if you don't lose it first. Oral hygiene. Some people consider it really important. I consider it more of a luxury item. If you're going on a 1 or 2 night trip, you don't need to bring this, but it's nice to have. It makes you feel like you're at home. Chapstick, always bring chapstick with you. Tiger Balm, this is good for sore joints, but another luxury item. Vaseline, again, a luxury item, but if it really does help with the dry skin and if you get blisters. A compass, always bring a compass with you just in case your cell phone dies. This will make sure in case you do get lost, you're at least heading in one direction the whole time. This is mosquito repellent. For the summertime, it's important to bring mosquito repellent. This is a small knife. This is pretty much the biggest knife you're ever going to need when you're out backpacking. And it's really lightweight. Most people don't even need a knife. I rarely even use a knife when I'm out there. This is Purell. You should always bring Purell with you. Most backpackers get themselves sick and on the trail by actually eating their own feces. So this is one way to keep your hands clean before you eat. And the last thing I want to highlight is my first aid kit, which has a lot of pills, mainly Advil and painkillers, Alka-Seltzer, Band-Aids, tweezers, and a safety pin. This is pretty much all you're gonna need. I don't really believe in bringing an extensive first aid kit. If you do get hurt on the trail, you are either in big trouble or you could just hustle off the trail as quick as you can, get back to your car. This is a snow stake. A lot of people on the trail don't believe in burying their poo. They think they're gonna find a stick, they think they're gonna get a rock and bury their poo with it. The reality is most of the time you're not gonna find those things and people just poop on the ground. This is a lightweight, very lightweight. I mean, it weighs like just a few ounces. And it's always good to bring this with you. I mean, you could use it for your tent if you have to, like if it's a big windstorm, but mainly just for hygiene and for being a friend to the trail and living by the principle, leave no trace. I do believe in bringing a spade with you. This is a headlamp. A headlamp is not necessary, but it's one of those items that a lot of people, they don't think they need, and once they see other people with it, they're like, I can't believe how great this is. So this one is actually a little bit heavy for me. It's a little on the heavy side. This is the Black Diamond. It's very well made though. It takes 3 AAA batteries. Always bring a map with you, a physical map. Like I said, even if you have your cell phone that has the maps inside of it, you should always bring a paper map and a compass just in case anything happens to your electronic gear. And this is my utensils. I just usually bring a plastic fork and spoon with me. You could just use a plastic fork and spoon from like McDonald's if you want. This is not that important. Really often in the beginning when you're backpacking, you overpack. With the first backpacking trip I took, I had a 50-pound backpack. It was full of items that I didn't really need. And I'm gonna show you a few of the items that are frivolous that I brought on my first backpacking trip. The first one is a lantern with a little candle. This is actually kind of a good idea for car camping. It gives a nice romantic lighting, but this is really pointless. You don't need something like this. You have a flashlight. You don't need a candle. I've also brought this knife with me. When my first backpacking trip, I went to Big 5 and I said, oh, I'm gonna go backpacking out in the woods by myself. They recommended a knife that's huge, and then so I thought I was being modest by getting this knife. This knife is not necessary. I know some people who backpack with huge knives and machetes, and I've actually met someone who backpacked with a gun. In reality, when you're out in the woods, the point is to not be afraid. You shouldn't be bringing knives with you. There's no reason, there's no animals that's gonna attack you that you can actually defeat with a knife. If a mountain lion gets you, this knife like deep in your backpack is not gonna save you. So leave your huge knives at home. This is a huge waste of space and weight. This is a multi-tool Swiss Army knife champion. It has screwdriver, magnifying glass, and pliers. I thought that I might need this when I was out in the woods. But the reality is this is way too heavy. This is so overkill. This is what I bring now. This one's even overkill because it has a USB, but I don't have the other one. This one just happens to have the USB. So this is a multi-tool. You don't need it. Leave it at home. This weighs way too much. And the most ridiculous item I brought with me was this hatchet. I think maybe I was like trying to be Rambo out in the woods. This was not necessary. I attached it to my hip like this. This weighs 2 pounds. It weighs as much as my tent. So, I mean, I did smash some logs with this, but this is not a backpacking tool. This is a camping tool or a lumberjack tool. So you want to really consider what you need and what you don't need on a backpacking trip. Anything that you cannot live without, you probably need, like food, water, shelter. That's what you need. You don't need to be chopping logs. You don't need to have huge knives. So I think the biggest lesson learned for this backpacking trip is that you could go cheap and light and have a fun, safe trip out there without endangering yourself or the people with you. So I really encourage you to try out some of this lightweight, super budget gear and have fun on your next trip.